This is Kingdom Radio.
This is Kingdom Radio with your hosts, Ron and Laura Roby. Do you remember going to Transworld, babe?
Oh, yes. How could I forget that?
It was awesome. That's why I know that you're going to love the guest that we have today on Kingdom Radio. This man is the owner of Steeltown Paintball Park, also the Pittsburgh Zombie Outbreak.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about. You may have seen this man on ESPN competing in paintball. He has the safe place where connectors get connected, the SuperBowl of trade shows, VP of Transworld Trade Shows. Give it up for Richard Bianco.
Hello, Richard.
What's going on, Richard?
How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're calling from Chicago?
Yeah, I live in the North Shore of Chicago.
You're the only Pittsburgh fan in Bears country, or what?
Well, that's not true. There's quite a few of them. Since I have 4 kids here. So. They're all fans, and there's some others as well. But we have a strong reach coming from Pittsburgh.
So you go anywhere in the country, Pittsburgh's probably like the #1 represented team all over the country that travels well.
Well, I like you say that. Most people think it's the Cowboys, but I believe what you just said.
No, I don't think it's Cowboys. Definitely Pittsburgh. I grew up a Pittsburgh fan, so that's why I say these things. But Richard, Laura, and I, we made our very first trip to Transworld. It was a recommendation of someone in the Christmas business. They said anybody who's anybody has to be at Transworld. Now, there's other shows. I mean, there is, probably about 10 or 15 shows that people are going to this month and that month. But the show that you cannot miss, the SuperBowl of trade shows, is Transworld. And we went there last year, and that's why it's such an honor, Richard, to have you on the show today. Can you tell us about how you got started, or what was the inspiration to make you want to get into the trade show business?
Yeah, well, first I'd like to say thanks. It's very, very nice of you to say that. We try hard to do our best at putting together trade shows, but I'll give you my story and how I ended up getting into it. The company was started before I had gotten there. I actually was an exhibitor at Transworld a little over 9 years ago, and as you said, I'm from the paintball industry originally. I used to play professionally and traveled all over the United States and played in tournaments. It got so big at one point that it was on ESPN and several sports stations, and at the time I was exhibiting at Transworld as an exhibitor, and I just had a small 10x10 booth, and I was blown away by the show, literally loved it. And it was all Halloween at the time.
You're listening to Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
Yeah, well, that's how I got into the industry. I actually was one of the first guys that was starting to do zombie rides with zombie trucks. I had a bunch of military vehicles that I purchased, and we outfitted them with guns that were mounted on there, and we used to do this ride that we drove through our property in Pittsburgh, our paintball field called Steeltown Paintball. And we had our Halloween event was called Pittsburgh Zombie Outbreak. We created a whole story, and people came out. We sold out every night, and it was an experience ride that you rode on, and you shot zombies walking through the woods. And the balls, glow in the dark. So it was pretty cool. It was a great experience, And then from there, I was at Transworld. I happened to be in a booth way in the back of the show, and I saw this young lady walking by selling booths, and she walked right past our booth, and she happened to be the owner. I didn't know this at the time, but long story short, I ended up getting into the Halloween industry pretty big at the time. I helped bring in a lot of exhibitors to the show from the paintball industry. And I had one of the most successful retail store. It was called Punisher's Paintball at the time. It was in the top 10. But I ended up selling that stuff, moving on. Long story short, I got into the trade show business, started working there and building the exhibit space and things like that. So
you're listening to Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
Yeah, no, every single person that I've met that knows you said, I love Richard. He is the nicest guy. And that's why I was like, man, I got to get him on the show. So that's why it's such an honor, once again, that you're on the show. Now, the Christmas attraction got introduced, what was that, 4 years ago? Or when did Christmas become a thing with Transworld?
Well, it actually started many years ago. When I first started working for the company, I noticed there was Universal Concepts. They're a company out of Atlanta, Georgia. It's ran by Greg and Ryan Fullwood and Lori. And they were our only exhibitor. And they used to come to the Halloween show and sell Christmas products all the time. And people were like, what the heck? Like, why are these guys in here? They used to make jokes about them. And I remember when they had called to increase their booth space, I was like, seriously? Like, you guys sell a lot of stuff? But and things started growing from there. We started getting more exhibitors little by little. And then a lot of the amusement parks have been coming to our shows. You were there. I'm sure you met some of them. But we have amusement parks from all over the world, and not just in the United States. But they come to the show, and if they do a Halloween event, they were coming. And then a lot of them went to the gift marts and stuff like that, and that's where they would buy all their Christmas supplies. So we had talked to a couple amusement parks. One in particular was Six Flags. We're pretty close with those
real
guys.
Small company. I heard of them.
They have a park here in Chicago, and they have them all over the country, but we became friends with them. And we had sat down, and they had a whole Christmas department, and they were like, hey, would you guys ever consider increasing Christmas and doing something more with it? We were like, yeah, it's a good fit. I think we should create its own show. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't do Halloween, want nothing to do with Halloween. They're two separate industries. And sure enough, that's what we did. We started the show. You were at the show. It was literally amazing.
You're listening to Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
You're right, Richard. Laura and I was there last year, and it was amazing, just like you said. And for the Christmas attraction, maybe this is the third year, and it's really progressed over the last 3 seasons. But the thing that I think is really interesting is a lot of the guys in the Christmas industry, the distributors, they're selling very similar products to the same pool of installers across the country.
Yeah.
And it gets so highly competitive that, guys are maybe not literally, but figuratively fighting over customers. And for someone to actually connect and bring together the Christmas community, there's very few people. Actually, you're the first person I've seen that can bring the whole entire country together collectively on the same playing field is there at Transworld, and I admire how you actually put that together.
Yeah, for sure. That's really nice of you to say that. I don't personally look at it that way. I think something that we kind of pride ourselves with at Transworld is we've always, no matter the size of your company, no matter the size of exhibit space you purchase from us, no matter the amount of sponsorship you purchase to try to promote your company, we treat everyone equal.
You're listening to an exclusive interview from Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
Me personally, like a lot of these guys that exhibit at our show, I know them on a personal level. I think Jen and I have always prided ourselves in that. We consider them more friends than we do business associates. Like when I see them, I walk in a booth and I'm at Holly Dynamics, and I walk in and I say hi to Scott Heath, to Eric, and all those guys, like I know on a personal level.
And have known them for years, right?
Yeah. Well, I met them like from the start. We were like, I would go to trade shows. And when we started building this show, I was going to a lot of gift shows and walking in and seeing these guys, and they didn't know who I was. And I'm talking to them about our show and how it could be a great fit because we already have the buyers, and they believed in us and gave us a chance. You know what I mean? And,
right.
Like Holiday Designs, Derek Norwood, all these guys, like, knowing them on a personal level, and the Fullwoods, Greg was there from the beginning. And then I got, Winterland and Tara and her family, Tara Fred, and, it's cool to meet all these people, and I get it. No matter what business you're in, it's very competitive, and we were very familiar with that. In the Halloween industry, it wasn't much different. A lot of guys do the same thing, and how do you put them all in a playground and have everybody get along well? I got to be honest, most of them are extremely respectful, great people. They've helped us with the show. They help us with our education. They help us with everything. So I think that's kind of how we did it, and we're very grateful. It's not something that we look at and say, hey, we did this ourselves. That's not the way we operate.
Sure.
It's more about getting these ideas from people, and we try to put together a show for the industry of what the industry needs or is looking for.
It was bad to the bone. Laura and I, my wife and I, we went through the Halloween attraction. It was breathtaking to see all the different displays, and it seemed like the Halloween people, they would go in there, and this guy would have like a bat across his shoulder, and this person has a couple masks that they had purchased, and In the Christmas side, it was really more about pre-orders. Like, there wasn't a lot of people like walking with a candy cane hanging over their shoulder back to the hotel room. It was like things that you pre-order. But the Halloween, they had so many different products where you could buy this and take it home today. It was kind of set up like that. And it was amazing. When I went through there, I couldn't believe it. It was like going through like a professional movie studio, these costumes that these people had and everything. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, the fun part about it is like, so I had watched a couple of your, previous shows and stuff, and it was interesting to hear you and your wife talk about it because it's your first year experience. And,
Sure.
and like you'd say, yeah, the numbers are 20-1. Well, the interesting thing is these two industries are starting to work together so much. It's amazing. I have guys in the Halloween side that are facade and set designers, and they're amazing at it. The Christmas guys don't do that. They do the lights. They're great at the lights. And so now I'm actually making these relationships with guys from the Halloween industry and the Christmas industry and putting these exhibitors together, and they're doing projects together, and they're becoming friends. And you'd be blown away that a lot of the exhibitors, and I'm sure like even Holly Dynamics can speak about this, it's funny watching their catalogs and seeing things change. They're starting to make all these Halloween lighted products now because all the Halloween guys are coming over to Christmas, and they're doing Christmas shows, but on top of it, they're doing Halloween shows with lights now too. So like it's opened up so much new stuff for people to do. And that's the idea of the show. It's about trying to create new ideas.
You're listening to Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
And I know you had mentioned that Augie was the one that had told you to come to the show. To me, it's the truth. If you are in the industry, you have to be there. Even if you weren't buying something, you still got to be there because the people you're going to meet, the ideas you're going to be able to learn could help you and help you be successful.
And Rich, I couldn't agree with you anymore. The training is what helps you get to the next level. And the products and distributors and relationships, that's one thing. But the other thing is, learning from the best and having a collection of the best trainers and the best speakers across the country training on individual topics, whether it's Halloween, it's Christmas, it's products, it's service, it's installation, or it's just the setting up your business and the structure of your company and how you operate it more efficiently. There's the best trainers in the United States that are there speaking at Transworld. And how do you go through the process of figuring out who is the trainers? There's like a board or a committee, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So like at our show, we have a bunch of boards, for different things. It could be a buyer's board for Christmas, a buyer's board for Halloween, an exhibitor's board for Christmas, an exhibitor's board for Halloween. Okay. And we have a seminar board. But our classes that you pay for are certified professional speakers that are educated on whatever subject they're speaking on. And they've been vetted. They're generally suggested to us from their peers. So like, for instance, a lot of our exhibitors help us choose speakers. They may come to us and say, hey, this guy's amazing at landscape lighting, or this guy is amazing at teach you how to figure out how to charge somebody to decorate a home. So that's how we get a lot of them. Last year was our first year of actually doing our own installation series, which, we plan on expanding on it. But it was super successful the first year.
You're listening to Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
You as you saw at the show, we have a massive amount of the commercial side of the industry. This isn't just about home decorating. And our goal was always to build a show where these guys could display the items that some of these amusement parks or commercial events were going to purchase so they could see them actually lit. And as you've seen in our show, we run it in a dark atmosphere so that when you walk in that room, it's like, wow, this place is looks like Christmas on steroids.
And it smells like gingerbread cookies and stuff like that as soon as you walk in.
Yeah, you have the donut guy.
Yeah, it was right there in the entrance of the show. It smelled like roasted pecans. It was so inviting, and you had to go in there.
Sure. Well, they say you want to sell a house, bake chocolate chip cookies before the potential buyers.
You can't go wrong with Miss Claus's cookies. But now, Richard, on our show that we did post-Transworld, we gave advice for traveling to Transworld, and it was really kind of tailored towards the Christmas business because that's what business we're in. But since we have you on the phone, what advice would you give to someone who's traveling to Transworld?
I would be prepared to at least come for a couple days, a minimum of 2 days, because it is overwhelming, as you said. Even when you walk through it the first time, it's so large that you really need to do it a second time. But, there's a lot of small guys that are in the show that are the next big guy, and you should see them, and take the time to walk around. And if you're a Christmas buyer only, don't think that you shouldn't walk the Halloween show, because you'd be blown away at how many guys on the Halloween side sell Christmas products, but their main thing is Halloween, and vice versa. I would bring comfortable shoes because it's large, like a little snack bag and some water and stuff when you're walking the show, to find time. And I would personally try to attend every networking event that you can possibly attend.
Absolutely.
Because, as you said, when you meet people, even in the VIP booth, or you meet them at the bars, I listened to your wife and you talking on another show on your post-Transworld one, and some things you said, I'm happy to kind of talk about those here. Yes, you brought up a great point in one of your other shows that we actually talked about it right after I listened to it, and I talked about it with Jen. And from your show, we considered doing a host hotel that's for Christmas and the one for Halloween.
You're listening to an exclusive interview from Richard Bianco on Kingdom Radio.
As you know, and you said, the Marriott is jam-packed with haunters. That's a fact. Been that way for years, and it's an amazing atmosphere. But the tough part about it is the Christmas guys, it's a little bit different atmosphere. Most of those guys are in like sports coats and different things. So it's a little bit intimidating with the haunt side of it. And I get that. And we are considering this year, we have several hotels. We take up almost the whole city of hotels.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to pick like one of our hotels where we advertise it more as the host hotel for Christmas, so that the guys that really want to network and meet together, they can try to book at that hotel first, so that we can create that atmosphere. Keep in mind, it's only going to be our third show, even though it's been running for 4 years. 1 year was canceled because of COVID. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be what Halloween is that's been going on for 35 years, but it's growing fast. As you've seen, I think it's going to catch up with Halloween probably in the next 3 years. And we want to make sure that as it grows, we continue to offer more networking opportunities for the Christmas buyers, and they have the opportunity to go to some of the Halloween events too, to meet those folks as well, because a lot of them, they came to the show that were doing Christmas are now doing Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, they loved it.
I mean, the guy standing next to you, he drives a hearse to work every day. And this guy's a multi-millionaire, and he only does Halloween, and you can't help but overhear these conversations, and you're like, dang, what am I doing? And Richard, if I could give a personal reference of Transworld, I would say that if you're a company and you're in the Christmas business, you should definitely try to go to Transworld, because for me personally, sitting in line, it was the VIP line, but sitting in line to get our tickets to get into Transworld, the person beside us owned an amusement park in the United Kingdom. Just a random person that's right beside us. They owned an amusement park in the United Kingdom. And if you're a guy like me, you take your kids to amusement parks, but it's not every day that you're in a conversation with someone who owns an amusement park. And that gives you a bit of confidence. Also, when you see the vendors that offer these extravagant displays, now you know exactly who to talk to get these products and sell to high-end clients like amusement parks. The training that you get at Transworld is second to none, and the connections. Most importantly, the connections that you make at Transworld, it's worth every dollar that's invested, and I really appreciate you being on our show today, Richard. And let's give Richard a deserving round of applause for all of his hard work there at Transworld, and let's put something on our schedule for February 2nd through the 5th. We are going to be in St. Louis. We are going to go to Transworld.
Let's go to Transworld!
And I'll see you there. Thanks, Richard.
I appreciate that, you guys having us on. We always look forward to talking about the show.